Pretty boy next year, Michael Zerafa, got the big fight next month against Jeff Horn.
Yep.
Must be proud to say that he's got landed such a big fight, and you haven't put him on early in his career. I think debut.
Mate, we've known Michael for the better part of 10 years. He coming into the boxing game, he wasn't a massive buzz around Michael. But to be honest with you, I think he was more of a known as a footy player coming in. And after about a minute into his first round of his first fight, they knew who Michael was. So, mate, it's been a long ride.
Yep.
And like I said, for us, we'd love to see that in boxing, that someone that puts in the hard yards, puts in the years. The hard work pays off. We love seeing that, and we see it time and time again, but not up to this magnitude. Where we see a guy with a very limited amateur experience work his way all the way to basically the biggest fight in Australian boxing.
I know one thing you always spoke about, Michael, was his dedication, his application to the sport, and he's really reaping the rewards now. And he's sort of mid to late 20s, in the prime of his career. The sky's the limit.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. I think, he's only ever lost 3 times, all of which were, international against, absolutely incredible opponents, probably better than anyone in Australia. So, and Jeff Horn, mate, he's made a massive statement beating Manny Pacquiao and coming off of absolute annihilation of Anthony Mundine too. So, it's going to be a great fight. I think stylistically, it's going to be very similar to the Dwight Ritchie Tim Tszyu fight, where, you're going to see Michael try and box and Jeff trying to close the distance, try and rough him up. They call him the pretty boy. He likes to box pretty, he likes to keep it nice and clean. And Jeff is the opposite of that. Awkward, rugged, in your face, bit of a puncher. But where I think he's going to get undone is Michael's size. Michael's campaigned majority of his career at middleweight. Jeff's welterweight. And, I just think, with that style to close that gap and really impose himself, and he's going to have to hurt Michael. And I just don't think he's big enough or punches hard enough.
And we saw Michael today do, I think it was 10 rounds with Dwight Ritchie. Unbelievable preparation for both boys. Can't say too much about how the rounds went, of course, because we've got 2 big fights upcoming, but very competitive rounds.
It was, mate. It was great. It's great to see such a high talent level in the gym. No matter what sparring you do, what sparring days you go to, you don't really see that level in Victoria. Where you got basically the number 1, number 2 guys going toe to toe. I thought the rounds were invaluable to both boys, and I was just saying to Michael before you flick the camera on that, they should do more of it, because, I know they're in the same weight and it's a bit of a, fickle industry where, you can fight at any time, but the bottom line is they ain't fighting each other. So they're fighting Jeff Horn and Tim Tszyu, so why wouldn't you go and get, squeeze every bit of juice out of that fruit? And
plenty of options, I guess, after these 2 fights. Obviously if Dwight wins, Michael wins, that'd be a matchup, the whole of the Australian boxing public would love to see. And if they weren't victorious, or either one wasn't, there's obviously a potential matchup in the future.
Yeah, well, I think ideally, especially for Michael, if he was to win, beat Jeff Horn, I would think that he looked at international sort of opportunities. Obviously, the money, the economics internationally, we can never compete in Australia. There are massive countries, America, Russia, Germany, all these massive countries that have, ridiculous money compared to us. So I'd always advise them to go have a crack, take the hardest fights, and mate, if it doesn't quite work out for him, mate, he can always come back here like we see time and time again and get big Australian fights, whether it's a Mundine, a Ritchie or anything like that. But you'd always advise your fighters, to go for the biggest possible fights, for the biggest possible money on the biggest possible stages.
And I guess at this point in your career, Michael, having yourself and Jake together, all started at Team Ellis, obviously a long time ago, and you've probably even surprised yourself with how far you've come.
Yeah,
does it mean a lot to sort of still have involvement with one another and a bit of pride in the fact that Jake obviously put you on and you were had your debut on his card?
Well, his debut fight was my debut show, so we're both 18 years old.
I understand, and huge credit to Jake. He's come a long way. Me and my boxing, him and his promoting. So hats off to Jake. It's not an easy gig. But like I said, I always just believed in hard work and dedication. You only get one life, one opportunity, man. So give it 100%. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, we'll let you go with 100% and you go from there. But August 31st, like I said, huge opportunity. We're going to grab it with both hands, man. So I thank the Ellis team and Dwight Ritchie's camp for letting me in their gym and get some world-class sparring. So I appreciate it.
And you've done 10 rounds today, mate. I think you've done about 5-6 rounds skipping. Are you done, mate, or because we're going to have to kick you out soon?
We're going to do another 10 rounds.
I might go for a light run or some sprints later tonight. We'll see what the boss says, Sammy. But look, we're peaking. We're doing everything that we're meant to. We're growing as a team. We're working on my weaknesses, building strength. I've pulled back in the running a lot, so we're nowhere near ring fit yet. But as I said, we're going to start picking up every week the sparring and the rounds. So there'll be no excuses come 31st.
Beautiful, fellas. Well, you know, we can't wait for August 31st to see you fight Jeff Horn and obviously see Dwight fight Tim Tszyu in a couple of weeks' time, fellas. So thanks for joining us and looking forward to seeing what happens.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Steve.